Yo, yo. This is the Warden, Adrian Threat, coming at you from the 702 Las Vegas, bitches. And let me tell y'all, I run the streets. And you know what I run in the streets for y'all who don't know? I run the wenches. Y'all can't touch my harem, okay? Y'all come anywhere near my wenches. Y'all don't come nowhere near my wenches or I cap you. I cap you. I cap the wench you trying to come at. Hell, I might cap the cashier at the fucking register if I see him because I just capping everybody when you come at my wenches, okay? Nobody's allowed to have no wenches but me. You got it? All right. So, when you see me out at the In-N-Out Burger or at the taco stand or at Jack in the Box or at the Sonic drive-thru, let me tell you, you 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 can't be near none of my wenches. You know what else you can't do, my wenches? You can't sit near us. All right, none of that. You can't sit with us. You can't sit near any of my wenches, or I cap you. I pull out my 357 airsoft gun and my shotgun airsoft gun, and I bring them and I cap you with my bullet barrage. Y'all got that, motherfuckers? Y'all stay away from my wenches. It's my fucking harem. Stay the fuck out, or I cap all y'all. Adrian Threat, the Warden, out. All right, so now that we're done with that, okay, welcome to a new special edition of Backstage PWI. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about storylines. Now, I know a lot of y'all have been talking about storylines recently. Oh, well, is my character going to be in this storyline? Can my character have a storyline with that character? Can my character do this? Can my character do that? Can we run this storyline? Okay, so I've been kind of putting y'all off because I haven't quite had a chance to explain. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing is our first results were out, okay? This is not necessarily related, but it sort of is. So the first set of results is out, and what I'm happy to say is that it seems to have been well received, okay? And now that all y'all know that I can actually write, and I'm not a fucking moron, I got something going on up here, now y'all can fucking listen to me when I talk to you about storylines, okay? That's how it's gonna be. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is there's one place we're never ever gonna talk about storylines, okay? And I'm gonna show you where it is right now. Now, if you'll direct your attention to my monitor here, okay, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see an itty bitty little thing down here. And what this is, my mouse is showing up funky places again, right here. What this is that's the Platinum Act Sports presents PWI chat, okay? You're not ever gonna post anything about any upcoming storyline content in that chat. You're not gonna ask me about it. You're not gonna talk about it with anyone else. It's never gonna get posted there, okay? It's gonna no storyline stuff at all. None. Okay? And the reason for that is because when you guys do that, what you do is you fucking ruin it. Okay? You're like, oh, well, Dan slash Caden, I don't really understand what you're talking about. Well, here's the deal, okay? Now, here's how I imagine all of your guys' EFEDs have been the last 3 to 5 years, okay? And this is just my imagination, so if I'm incorrect, you guys can correct me, okay? So you guys show up, okay? And y'all are like, yeah, we're in this new EFED. It's going to be most excite, number 1, best EFED NA, okay? And if you guys see me say NA, that means North America, okay? I say in chat all the time, I'm sure none of y'all know what I'm talking about. So anyways, y'all get there, right? And then you got Johnny B. Fedhead here, okay? And Johnny B. Fedhead's kind of like this. He's like, well, I can't really do anything. I don't know how to make graphics. I don't know how to make videos. And I certainly can't write. So, yeah, I'm going to let you guys write all the storylines and write all the shows. And I'm going to take credit for it. Okay, so that's what happens. And then for like 6 months, y'all are fine. Okay, y'all are writing your storylines, working with other handlers on them, and then you realize how fucking boring it is to write all this stuff and to have no idea, you know, to have no idea why you're getting bored. You're like, well, I'm just not really feeling like role playing this week. Well, why am I not feeling like role playing this week? Well, let me tell you why, okay? Because I know why, and you guys may not know. It's because when you write your own fucking storylines and you know what's going to happen 3 months before it happens, you don't fucking care anymore. You know, like it's like if I'm playing on my old school PSP here, okay? You guys see my PSP, okay? If I'm playing on my PSP and I'm playing a brand new game, it's a Japanese RPG, okay? And there's lots of hot anime wenches, and they're all getting tentacle fucked by big tentacle monsters and shit. It's great. It might as well be a porno on my PSP, okay? And I'm playing, and oh man, I'm having lots of fun. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's fun because it's new and exciting. The first time that the princess gets penetrated by the great tentacle monster of doom, it's exciting because I haven't seen it happen before. Okay? But what if I'd already played that same game 5 times? Is that same story that I've already heard, the same, you know, tentacle porn monster humping this anime princess chick, is that exciting to me anymore? Well, the answer is no, it's probably not. Okay? It's probably not exciting to me anymore. So why would you guys think that running your own storylines that you already know the results to, that are very similar to the same storylines you've already run 5 or 10 or 20 or Jesus Christ, it's probably some of you guys 100 different times, why do you think that you're going to continue to be invested in that? Because the bottom line is you're not. So when when you guys work with the Fed head on storylines, or work with creative on storylines, or okay, so here's how storylines are going to work here. Okay, there's not going to be any of this like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead. Okay, here's a great example. Okay. Let's just take an example. I'm just going to make up an example that I probably have thought about a little bit at least, so I have some idea what I'm talking about. Let's say we got Matthew and we've got John, okay? Everyone knows who, Matthew and John are, okay? They're in chat, you see them every day, you all know who they are, okay? And let's talk about their characters. Everett Aloney, Matthew's character, and Chris Matthews, which is John's character, okay? Well, now these guys want to play these characters in this particular Fed, and I know this because I've talked to them out of character about it, because they want to go for their fifth tag team title reign. They're super excited about it. That's what their goal is with those characters. Okay, well, that's super cool. So let's say 3 months from now they've won the tag team titles. They're on top of the world. They're flopping their sacks all over the table. They're in a great mood. Well, then all of a sudden, they have to go against, I don't know, Red Dragon and Austin Reynolds, okay? And these guys just bring them the heat, and they just fucking smoke them. Chris and Everett don't even know what hit them. They just got kicked in their fucking dong, all right? Well, now they're kind of sad and upset and whatever, okay? So here's how I approach a situation like that, okay? Because I know they've reached their goal now. They're probably not interested in just going and having like another rematch. Like, they've already, beat their record they were trying to beat. Beating your own record, again, isn't necessarily like, you're just like, why, So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go approach Matthew. I'm going to be, okay, so Matthew, I know a little bit about, these characters in the past that Chris had betrayed, Everett, whatever. Now, maybe Everett has some, leftover feelings from that. Maybe he remembers that and he still feels slighted. Well, when Chris gets pinned to lose the tag team titles here, um, how about we have Everett do a heel turn? Everett's never been a heel. I think it'd be interesting. It's something you haven't done with that character before. You have a great feud with Chris. I think this would be good. Well, yeah, now I'm Matthew. Well, Dan, that actually sounds pretty cool. Let me go ahead and send John a private message and we'll lay it out. Okay, so here's where I have to stop Matthew, okay? Because Matthew, this is how things happen in the past. When you wanted to do a storyline, you talked to another handler and you planned it out for 3, 6, 8, however many months, and then you all both knew what was happening the entire time, and that's fucking boring and nobody cares, okay? So I'm gonna say, no, Matthew, actually, we're not gonna tell John about it. And he's like, oh, well, why not? Well, the reason we're not gonna tell him is because that ruins the fucking surprise, okay? So what I want, when Everett and Chris eventually go and have a big match at the pay-per-view, no holds barred, or steel cage match, or Hell in a Cell, or whatever it is they have. What I want to see from Chris, what I want to see John write is real. I want to see real surprise. I want him to feel a real sense that he was betrayed and that he had no idea that that was coming. And you can't. maybe I shouldn't say you can't, but most writers, in the e-fighting world or otherwise, don't have the ability to truly emulate um, feelings, that they're not having. But if John's legitimately surprised and he feels a little bit betrayed that this happened, to his character, well, now he's going to go into that match and he's going to have a fire lit under his ass, okay? And he's going to put out the best fucking, 5,000 word role play that he's ever fucking wrote in his life. All right? So that's what I want from you guys. It's not about being deceitful or about I don't trust your guys' idea. That's not what it's about. It's about keeping things fresh and surprising for you guys. If you guys know what's going to happen 6 months before it happens, you're not going to be motivated. You're just, at some point, you're going to stop caring. It's going to stop being entertaining. So we're going to keep all storyline stuff, okay? All storyline stuff is going to be on a totally 100% complete need to know basis, okay? We're not going to have anyone talking about it in chat. If I can't police your guys' private conversations, but I would ask you if you have any respect for your fellow handlers and the staff and the creative and stuff, to if intimate details about a storyline that aren't public, about how something's going to be laid out, to please just not talk to people about it. If you need to talk to someone about it, come talk to me about it, and we can talk all night long to your heart's content about it, okay? But we're not going to post about it in chat. We're not going to send private messages to other people and ruin it for them. We're gonna go ahead and put on our big boy and big girl pants, and we're gonna keep our damn mouth shut. We're gonna zip the lip, okay? That's pretty easy, right? I don't think that's asking a whole lot. So now you're thinking, well, so what Dan's telling me here is that my ideas aren't good enough, and he doesn't want to listen to any of us, and he's a huge prick and thinks he knows best. Well, here's where I'm coming from, guys. Okay, first off, I don't think I always know best. There have been times I haven't known best and people have corrected me. What I do think is I have a fresh perspective on this. I'm coming at it from an entirely different viewpoint. I've been role playing for a long time, okay? Since I was very, very young, probably 11 or 12 years old. I started in Harry Potter. I got, as I got a little bit older, I got into e-fetting for, a year-ish, somewhere in there. And then I took it on to video games, and I did a lot of role playing of like fantasy role playing. I did a lot of erotic role playing. And you guys can tell what that means. But if for some reason you don't know what the word erotic means, it means I wrote sex scenes essentially. So the bottom line is that I have an extensive history of role playing. I've done it my entire life. What I can tell you is when role players know exactly how other people are going to react and what's going to happen 10 steps ahead of when it happens, they get fucking bored. Okay, they just do. There's just nothing for them to be excited about, and it's not any fun. So we're going to prevent that by just we're going to go through myself, the guy who does the creative, and we're going to do storylines that way. So let's say I don't know, let's say Pandora Christie has an idea for a storyline, okay? And she's like, well, I want to do this storyline where, me and Jack, Jack plays Devin and Desmond, but we'll just use what do you call it? We'll just use Devin in this instance. So Christy comes to me and says, well, me and Jack want to do a storyline where, where Pandora and Devin try to, I don't know, fucking do all this crazy shit and yada yada yada, and then all the other male characters get mad, and then we have the battle for Pandora's box where Devin has to defend my honor against 19 competitors, including Chris Matthews and fucking all of Ace's characters and whoever else. Okay, so the first problem is that she's already been talking to other handlers about specifics of a storyline, not like vague, like, hey, would you be interested in working with me? Is this something I can bring to creative? They've already been delving into an entire plot line, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do when you have any idea about a storyline, whether it just involves your character, whether it involves you and an opponent, whether it involves trying to get a couple guys together for a stable, what you're going to do is you're going to come talk to me first, okay, before you contact any of those guys, before you post it in chat, which you're never going to do, but before you talk to anybody, you're going to come talk to me. You're going to tell me, hey, this is kind of something I had in mind. I'd like to work with this guy or these guys or whoever. Is this possible? Okay, Because let me tell you what's going to be the worst. When you sit and you talk with another handler for like 3 days straight about this storyline idea that you think is super great, and you bring it to me, and I tell you, well, that doesn't actually fit into the programs we're doing right now. Like, this doesn't really jive. Some of the guys you might have to go up against to do this are already booked in other programs. Like, no. That's going to make you the most angry when you think about something for several days and you plan it all out and you come to me and I tell you no. So come to me when you have an idea. It doesn't need to be a complex idea. In fact, I prefer it's more basic because that allows me to suggest things that are going to make more sense and are going to fit into the grander, overarching plot line of the Federation. Okay, so you're going to come to me and say, "Hey, Pandora's going to come." Instead of saying all the stuff that I told you she had said before, she's going to come and say, "Hey, I'd like to work some kind of, romance angle with Jack, as his Devon character, and I'd like for some of the other, male characters to potentially have an issue with it, and have that lead to some culmination of match or competition, you know. No, that's something I can work with. Okay, she's come to me with a kind of an idea, but it's still pretty vague. There's a lot of places I can go from there. There's a lot of potential, characters and handlers I can use to fill the roles in the storyline. That's okay. Now, maybe I'll still tell her no, because, like, let's be honest, like the whole Kane and Lita thing was pretty gay, and then people competing for managers. When you had Steiner and Test with Stacy Q, that was awful. All those storylines were awful, and they objectify women, and they're dumb and they're shitty. But the point is that she's come to me with a basic idea. It's something that I can work with. It's not set in stone. I can make suggestions. I can tell her, well, I know you want to do this. We can't really do that, for these 3 reasons. What we can do is something kind of similar. How about this? You know, so that's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna if you come to me and you tell me, well, me and this guy planned a 3 month feud for the world heavyweight title, I'm gonna tell you, well, now none of you guys are getting the world heavyweight title. And if y'all don't like it, you can go fucking to Josh Bennett over there at VW and you can fucking role play for him, okay? Because people, there's a reason in real life that wrestlers aren't allowed to book themselves, and why you saw, in the ending days of WCW, why giving wrestlers creative control over their own characters isn't a good idea. Now, I'm not saying you guys don't get to say anything, because that's not the case. You guys do get a say in things. What I'm saying is you guys don't get to book all your own angles and all your own storylines, because it's not cohesive. When you got 20 chefs in the kitchen, it spoils the fucking soup. We all know that. Too many people trying to set things up and book angles and book feuds and book storylines. It's just a fucking mess. Okay, so we're not going to have any of that. What we're going to have is, when you have an idea, before you talk to anyone else about it, you're going to come talk to me. And I will approach the other people involved with you if that's what's necessary, but sometimes just by myself too. But sometimes I'm going to tell them things about the plan for the storyline that I'm not going to tell you. So you are also surprised. You see how this works? Now, you kind of have some idea what's going on, and this other handler kind of has some idea what's going on, but neither of you exactly know what's going on, because there's going to be some things that person A knows that person B doesn't, and vice versa. And there's going to be some things that I personally know are going to happen that neither of you do. And now everyone's going to be excited. They're going to have a fun storyline, and they're going to get to react naturally to what's happening to their character, which is going to improve the quality of work that they put out. It's going to improve how you feel about the Federation, and everything's going to run smoother. I promise, okay? So let's put away the archaic old ways of booking where your Fed head didn't have any fucking idea how to write a storyline, had no idea what was going on, and didn't care about you. They just wanted to say they were running an E-Fed and they were cool and whatever. And let's put some faith in the creative process that I've outlined here, and let's stick to it. Okay, let's not talk about storylines in chat. Let's not ruin storylines for other people. Let's not share unnecessary information. When it comes to storylines, everyone should be on a need-to-know basis, okay? Except for creative, who needs to know what's going on. If you're trying to plan something for a storyline without creative, i.e. me, I can promise you that storyline's not going to happen. So don't do it, okay? If it's anything that needs to be included in results, if you guys are just role playing about some weird shit, or you're doing some CD role plays about having butt sex or whatever, that's between you, the handler you're working with, and Jesus H, okay? But if this is something that needs to show up on this show or become apparent on this show, or as a segment I have to accept, then you need to run it by me. And that's something else. Segments, okay? Just because you submit a segment does not mean I'm going to run it. I am under no commitment to run any segments I don't feel fit the theme of the show, that don't lead in the creative direction that makes sense. None of that's going to happen. So far, I've run all the segments that I've been sent because I either requested them or they made sense in the context of the storyline. Before you write a segment, if you know that you're going to submit it to me and you're going to get butthurt when I tell you, no, you can't run this, or no, I'm not going to run this on the show, then you should ask me. You should send me a private message. And a lot of you guys aren't sending me private messages. That's another thing. If you guys aren't communicating with me, if you guys aren't private messaging me at least once, twice a week, you know, when it comes to ideas and segments, what's happening with your character, then you're doing it wrong. Some of you guys have never sent me a PM at all, and you should be embarrassed, because that's not. And maybe other Fed heads should be embarrassed for setting you guys up to think that you can't approach me about things. But the bottom line is that if it's not going to make it onto the show unless it goes through me. So if you want it to be on the show, you have to talk to me about it. Okay? So back to the segment thing. If you submit me a segment and I don't use it, and you're going to get angry because of that, here's how you can circumvent that. You can approach me beforehand and say, hey, is it okay if I run a segment for this character on the show? And I'll tell you, well, what's the segment about? And you'll tell me, well, it's about how my character has such a huge dong, and he's going to knock up all the women and give them all butt babies. I'm going to tell you, that's not a very good segment. You can't write that. But if, on the other hand, you tell me, well, I just kind of wanted to do a promotional thing about my character. He is, he's going to start opening, a series of gyms, call it, I don't know, Chris Matthews Workout Heaven or something. No, it's an awful name, but just as an example. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's going to add another dimension to his character. Now he's a business owner. Now he can kind of touch on that stuff during his role plays. Okay, let's do that. Let's run a segment for, Chris Matthews Gym Heaven or whatever. And then, John's going to write that and submit it. I'm going to approve it and put it onto the show because he talked to me about it. But if you don't communicate with me, I promise you it's not going to go on the show. Okay? Unless it's just great. I mean, sometimes you'll just write something and be like, oh, you didn't really ask me, but that's actually pretty cool. I'm putting that on the show. But if you write something, a segment, you don't ask me about it beforehand, I can't promise you anything. So don't get upset when I tell you no. And it's the same with the storylines. When you bring me a storyline and say, hey, I'd like to do this with these people, and I tell you, no, that's not good. Or no, those guys are already working something. Or no, I've got something under wraps right now that this is going to interfere with and I can't do it. Don't get angry at me, okay? I promise you, if I tried to incorporate each and every one of your ideas, the show would be a steaming pile of shit and y'all would leave, okay? So that's not how it's going to work. I think that's about like everything I had, to be honest. There's not much more to say about any of this stuff. It's all pretty straightforward. Like I said, one more time, guys. I don't want to say it again, but one more time. If it's going to end up on the show, it has to go through me. That's the bottom line. Okay? So you try to sneak something by me or think you can keep me out of the loop, you're sadly mistaken. All right? That's how it is. One other thing I wanted to show you real quick before I went. I wanted to give some props to somebody here real quick. Now, if you see here, let's see, we'll take this down for a second. Boop-de-boop. So if you see here on the PWI website, which you can see me scrolling through here, you're going to notice these nice little icons here. And you're going to notice we got some pretty cool ones here. Look at that red dragon one. That's pretty hot, right? That makes you want to have sex with red dragon. And here we have coming up, we have Apollo Clash. Okay, now you want to have sex with Apollo Clash too, right? It was pretty sweet. Okay, so those were made by Jack, and I wanted to thank him publicly for doing that. I appreciate it, Jack. They look real nice. I look forward to seeing some more when we have some more to put up there. So yeah, like I said, that's the other thing, guys. I really, while I say, things need to go through me and blah, 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 I also do give credit where it's due. So if you do something, don't be afraid you're not going to get recognized for it, because you are. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can run a Fed completely alone, and while I do try to handle 80 to 90% of the day-to-day stuff by myself, there are people who help me. Okay, I've had a few different guys work on graphics for me. I've had some people obviously submit segments, which you saw that I credited them at the end of the show. So like I said, I may be a dick, and Y'all may not always like me, and I may say no to you guys sometimes. You're not going to like that because you're not used to a Fed head having the creative vision to be able to sit back and be like, no, I don't think we're going to do that because it doesn't make sense. You're used to hearing, oh, yeah, man, book whatever storylines you want because the Fed head doesn't want to do any work. Okay? So that's about it. That's all I got for you. But that's how creative's going to work here. If you hate it and you can't handle it, then you're going to have to go somewhere else because that's just how it's going to be. Okay? That's all I got for you. Except for, the yeah, I'm Adrian Threat, yo. No, and then we're all done with that. Anyhow, y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. If you have any questions or ideas or concerns or comments, guys, that's what the PM feature is for on Facebook. Okay, just PM me whenever you need to talk about something regarding the Fed, or even if it's not about the Fed. You can send me a PM. You don't need to ask permission. Don't tag me in chat. Just send me a fucking private message. All right, guys, that's how to communicate with me. Let's get it done, and let's have a great next week. No showing, lots of good role plays. We're going to try to start having some real big, exciting stuff happen here coming into the first pay-per-view. So just be ready for that. And again, anything you need, hit me up. All right, bye-bye.